Thank you so very much for joining Body Align Ask Steve webinar this week, Wednesday. Today is the 28th of August, right? Running out a month. So I'm excited to have you on, our president, Steve Lepkowski from Body Align there in Virginia. And, you know, each and every week, and thank you for joining us. And each and every week, what we're trying to do is to have an open forum, allow people to go ahead and ask important questions about the technology, because it is a new technology for a lot of folks out there that are watching and learning about our company. And it's exciting times. And today's topic is going to be on 5G. So again, welcome, Steve. How are you today?
Hey, I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for setting this up for us, Rob. Yeah. I look forward to sharing some of my insights, what's happening in the 5G market. Not only what it can do for us from a quality of life, where we can downstream 4 channels of Hulu, but in the same time, we're going to have to make certain that it's not going to adversely affect our body. And that's what I want to talk about today, is what 5G is all about. We do answer questions, so if you have a question, please type it into the chat. If you look at the bottom of your screen, you should have a chat button. Hit that, drop in a question, and Rob will work it in. I prefer the format for tonight is Ask Steve. So I know, Rob, I saw some emails with some questions that were emailed in. Yes. I know Tim Smith said he had a couple questions, so I want to kick it off. You know, I've done this technology for over 14 years, and then my predecessors have done it for about 13,000 years. We simply take the energy that was engaged in acupuncture and things like that from the past, studied the meridians of the body, figured out what signals, what energies need to be passed into these meridians, took a step back and says, how do we capture these energies? How do we store those energies? Okay, and how do we get them so they can be delivered on the body to make an impact to the body? So that's how we born Body Align. Company Body Align's been in business close to 10 years. And I've been in the research lab looking at this with licensed acupuncturists, with technology folks, looking for ways to grab biological frequencies that can impact our bodies, store them on a medium. Silver works well, mylar works well, holograms work exceptionally well, organic sugar packets work very well. There are lots of molecules out there that work very well doing what we're trying to do. We chose a hologram as it was the strongest and probably the easiest delivery vehicle to get it out to people.
Well, I'll tell you that we did have that question come up. I think it came through our Facebook page. If you don't know, please visit our Facebook page at Body Align Pros. Visit our website, www.bodyalign. You'll find our link there to our social media. But we did have that question that came through either on Facebook or our IG channel. And it was, you know, what is the substrate that we're putting this technology on? And I really had to come to you, because I have no idea what are we putting this on? And I know in an interview with Warren Hanshey, he was talking about that, different substrates. But what is a substrate? And number 2, okay, what is this hologram, as you put it? What is that going on?
Okay, so the substrate that we deliver our product in is mylar, which is the same soft material that they use to land on the moon. Okay, unrigid, very light, but very durable. In fact, to stop the invasion of all this global warming that we have, they talked about these miles and miles wide mylar shades up in the heavens to stop all that energy from hitting the Earth. So this is a very inert. If you're at one of my seminars, I'll eat one of these. There's nothing on it. There's a bit of glue on the back, a hypoallergenic glue, but on the front is simply a 3-dimensional layering of mylar and plastic. We cover it at the very end with a nice durable plastic, okay? And that allows us to use it on our phones and on our bodies without having to worry about it rubbing off and destroying the hologram itself. So the hologram gives me a 3-dimensional stack. So it gives me the base layer, and then we go on top of that, put a layer on top of that, and put a layer on top of that. So it becomes 3-dimensional. You can't see it with the eye, but if you had a magnifying glass and could see deep enough, you'll see what we see are these optical frames that when we move a hologram and it looks a little different in each angle, that's exactly what we're doing, is we're just building those up. But one of the things we found was that because it's 3-dimensional, it has a lot of surface area, because it's a material that we can program, that we can actually change the way the molecules and the atoms vibrate inside there, and they can reflect what we tell it to reflect. So you may not sense it, but if somebody with a trained biological meter set this up, they would see frequencies bouncing off of this. In the case of, would have sulfur and magnesium and sodium, and have red yeast rice, have all those things that stop inflammation. This is our cellular protect disc. We're talking about 5G tonight. And what's happening is we're signaling that to the body, those frequencies to the body. It's not a chemical reaction, it's an energetic reaction. Okay? You can go to our channel on bodyline.com, see our science. We just posted some really cool stuff on how our pain relief discs, you can see an infrared view of the human body where it's hot, where there's some energy built up there, whether it's from pain or a fever or something, but you can see a hot spot. You can see how our hologram goes on there. And as we signal to the body releases that energy back out. And we've now freed up the body. Pain gets reduced, energy gets boosted. In the case of our sleep disc, energy gets dissipated, and we can find ourselves feeling better, making better decisions. The clouds are all over us. And then the best part is we are putting ourselves back on track to be aligned, putting ourselves back on track that we can have a great day without the assistance of other pharmaceuticals to get us there. So we simply program this with high intensity energy waves. They get embedded here, restructure the atoms such that when they vibrate and give its basic broadcast back, okay, through heat energy from our skin or from our cell phone, through the energy from the heavens. Okay, there's always energy about neutrinos and photons, all the stuff activates these frequencies and signals to the body. Hey, I want you to respond to, in the case of sleep, we're going to put melatonin, signal that into the body. We want to make certain that it's good grade. These are products that we buy that are maybe 1 or 2 parts per million non-pure, the pure stuff that we can get. Because if it's got something in it that's unpure, we're going to pick it up because everything's got a vibratory frequency. So we have to find the best. We can't deal with 50 parts per million. That cinnamon is one of the ones that we love. Cinnamon in the body is great. It activates the metabolism. You can lose a lot of weight. Take cinnamon. Unfortunately, you can't buy cinnamon that has very low level of impurities because it comes from the bark of a tree, which means there's mold and there's mildew and stuff. And they do the best they can clean it. But when you buy it, it's probably 300 to 500 parts per million bad. So we can't use cinnamon until we can find a way to purify it and get down to 1 or 2 parts per million effective. So we take a lot of caution to make sure when we grab a frequency off of something created by God, something natural, we grab that frequency and we broadcast it back. We don't give them anything else but the pure product that we're looking for. This case of product has probably 400 unique frequencies that are bombarded. So we take a whole roll of these. They get delivered in a roll. We'll set them on our receiving table. We stack up to 7 layers of products in little vials. And those 7 layers are then listened to. We drive energy through. We listen to the frequencies, amplify the frequencies, and broadcast them back into this product. For 10,000 of these, it may take a half an hour soak for these to absorb all the energy that we're trying to pass on.
It's amazing. I want to show everybody that I don't know what goes in it, but I will tell you that it has a very positive effect. This is my iPhone here, and sorry for the glare, but as you can see, I have my cellular protect disc on the phone, and we're getting some great reviews on bodyalign.com. There's a section called reviews, and we're getting some amazing reviews. I don't know if anyone saw this, but I'm also getting my energy direct. It looks like a dual disc on the energy band.
Yep.
And it is double the energy all day long. So it's really interesting, you know, that you're able to stack so many different frequencies on a particular hologram, sort of like data goes on to your credit card, right? And they put in all this data, and you're like, how do they do that? It's like a little tiny magnetic strip. How do they put so much data on a little tiny strip, right? But they do, they embed it. And so what's also interesting is that our bodies, just like our neurons are electromagnetic, right? Our body is an antenna. I don't know if anyone's ever done this with their key fob for their phone. If you put it underneath your like chin or something like that, the key fob will actually work a little bit further in distance, which really means that my body is an antenna, right? And so I'm assuming that, and please correct me if I'm wrong, when I'm using these technologies, right, I'm using those frequencies, my body's activating it, causing a body signal, and the signaling between the two, my body's own frequencies and then the disc's frequencies. Is that pretty accurate?
No, that's a pretty good analogy. We certainly see the body from, let's start all the way inside, as deep inside the body you can go. there's a bunch of atoms bouncing around. So let's call that an atomic plane. Then those atoms form molecules. Some cases, one atom equals one molecule. In many cases, it's 2 or 3 or 10 or 15 atoms make a molecule. Molecule then creates a cell. Okay, cells create organs. So now we've talked about 4 or 5 planes of way the body operates, right? And as we keep building up, then we go to organs, then we go to systems. Then we look, that's just inside the body. That's what we treat with supplements, and we treat with lots of foods that we eat. Our wellness is created by what goes in our body. But we also know there's an energetic plane or an emotional plane and a relationship plane that are outside the body and all need to be nurtured. They all need to be adjusted. When I talk to people that are sensitive, I'll say, can you tell there are fluorescent lights in a room? If I walk them into the room with their eyes completely blinded and I turn on an incandescent bulb or a fluorescent bulb or halogen, they can tell you simply by feeling the energies, the frequencies are being broadcasted. Nobody can tell you that their biology isn't altered by frequencies. Just put your head in the microwave, shut it, okay, and 3.8 to 5.0 gigahertz of energy are going to bombard your body, shake the hell out of your molecules. So we know that in the spectrum, the electromagnetic spectrum, all the way from visible light to super invisible light out in the cosmos, all the way to dark matter, we know that our biology is changed by the frequencies, both good and bad. So what I do is harness the good ones and put them into a product that can deliver it to the body. So when we get to the 5G space, let me jump to 5G a little bit.
Yeah, let's do that.
What's going to happen is this cell phone currently today does not meet the FCC standards for the amount of energy that should be broadcasting to me. And the cool part is they tell you to hold it, even when you buy the phone, everything you do says hold this 5 to 6 inches from your head so you don't violate that. And the way they measure the energy is broadcasted is 6 inches away.
Sure.
And it's kind of cool. In the case, I want you to get this, every time I double this distance, okay, if I was 1 inch away and I measured it, and I went to 2 inches away, let's say the power was 16, it is now 4, okay? And then if I doubled it again, it would now go down to 2, okay? It's going to go by the square, okay? Same way, if I move them closer, it's going to double and double and double and double and double. So all the cell phone guys took their 4G phones and 3G phones and 2G phones and all said, we got to measure. Here's the standard. You measure it, because that's the spec. Don't put it closer than 6 inches to your head. You measure that. You take this phone today and put it on any electromagnetic meter. It's going to read off the chart when it's intimate, when it's touching it. When it's 6 inches away, we've dropped half and then half and then half again, moving from 1 to 2 to 4 to 6 inches. We're going to take that energy down, and they pass the spec if you follow the standard of 6 inches away. So in 4G, it wasn't nearly as bad. It was bad, but it wasn't in a position where our bodies could probably get used to it, especially as old people, the high density of bones and mass. We weren't doing much damage to the body. We're getting a little out of kilter. We created a 4G product that says, hey, we're going to keep you. Go ahead.
I'm having a little hard time hearing you. I don't know if something changed with your microphone, but it just went down a couple decibels. Did the mic change?
No, I got
no?
right to the computer.
All right, fantastic.
I'll try to talk about it for you.
There you go. Thank you. So you're saying important things. I don't want to miss it, Steve.
There you go. So in the 5G space, they've now come in and says, I got to give you more data. So when we make a data path from a cell tower to a cell phone, we drive it on a frequency, and that frequency is a sine wave, right? And it's broadcasting down, and at the top and the bottom, they can say that's a 0 or 1, a 0, 1, or a 0, 1, and that moves data to you. But if I got to give you more data, I can't be a 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. There's no transition for the phone to pick up on or the tower to pick up on. So what has to happen? I got to give you more frequencies in the same amount of time. So now I've driven a higher frequency. Well, you want to cook your food faster? Either leave it in the oven longer, in a microwave longer, or raise the frequency because you're going to drive more energy. Okay? To get those frequencies into the meat, if you're cooking it there, you've got to have more energy to do that. So now you see documents going around, guys like Verizon and Sprint and other people can't afford to put copper in the ground or put fiber optics in the ground, so they're going to put 5G to your neighborhood. And I promise you this, if you are operating at the same speeds, 1,000 times faster than 4G, let's call that the 5G standard, about 700 to 1,000 megabits per second, so about a gigabit per second is going to be traveling. The only way to do that is ramp up the frequency. The longer, the faster the frequency, the less distance. So what do I have to do? Turn up the volume, turn up the energy on the cell tower and on the phone so they can have a good conversation. So now we've crossed the bridge, or jumped the shark in Happy Days terms. We've now got to a point where our bodies are really going to struggle keeping up with what's happening in 5G. When I designed the first computer chips for a company called Nokia, way back when, and they were working with us, we had to do all we could to quiet down the chips because they were so close to the brain, they were so close to the body that they were EMFing. And on the back of every cell phone, you'll see FCC and then a number, and it says what it's been tested to and what it's compliant to. We couldn't meet the spec, so we took a lot of time. This was back in analog in 1G range. My patents last through 3G and into 4G. So you can see I've been around for a while in the technology. And we continue to ramp up the power, put bigger, smarter batteries in it. Thank you for the battery manufacturers, because our experience is good. But we've had to burn a lot more energy, putting it closer to the body, moving the cell towers from what would be a half a mile away, would be a good distance for most people. Now we've got to put them a city block away. And what's going to happen in your neighborhood, if you already have fiber, you're going to have Verizon has that fiber, or AT&T has that fiber, or Cox or Spectrum.
Right.
Okay. But guess what's going to happen is shortly, Sprint's going to have a tower, and other carriers are going to have a tower that says, why don't you just order this transmitter? We'll put it on the side of your house, or we don't really have to. We'll put it in your living room, buy your TV, we'll turn it on, crank up the power, and we're going to give you 1 gigabit speeds for 13 channels to your home, and you don't need fiber. You don't need cable. Everything's going to flow through the waves. That's the only way Sprint can compete. They can't afford to put millions and millions of dollars of fiber lines in the ground when AT&T's already done it, and Verizon's already done it, Cox and Spectrum have already done it. So guess what, guys? We're moving to a future where our experience every day is going to come wireless. Somebody asked me, he goes, how do you know these energies do anything to the body? This is long before your time, but we used to have a crystal radio. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, I remember there was crystal tubes or something.
No, this is big. Okay. A long time ago,
okay,
I used to be able to put one of those white earbuds, kind of off-white, omni colored. They're kind of round.
Yeah.
And I used to put it in my ear and lay in bed, and I could take this carbon rod in between a coil of wire, and I could move it back and forth and tune in AM radio. I could get, with no energy, no plug in the wall, no battery, nothing, just ground one end, leave the other end floating, and I would tune it. You could buy them all over the place, called a crystal radio. And I said, I can take the energy off that AM tower and listen to it and hear the baseball game. I could hear my Yankees play when I was growing up in upstate New York through the little crystal radio. There's energies bombarding us all the time.
Sure.
5G takes that from the crystal radio to a cell phone that's going to transmit gigabits of data per second into you. So your voice is going to be clear. You're going to be able to watch 13 channels of Hulu at any one time.
Right.
And it's going to disrupt the biology in the body. And that's why I'm here today, is to talk about its disruption at the energetic plane. We know that that energetic plane can drive in and change the physical plane. It can drive in and change the chemical plane. You expose the body to a lot of long-term exposure to 5G and 4G or microwaves or frequencies in our house, you're going to change the biology. Cells are going to react different. Organs are going to be different. When we want to get better, we go to an acupuncturist. And what does he do? He finds a meridian, puts a needle there, and he uses the energies from his own body and other natural things that he has to signal those energies to open up. 13,000 years of energy practice over pharmaceutical practice.
Well, you know, it's really interesting. So this week, just to harken what you said earlier about the research that we're putting out there, and there's some new videos that we're putting out, and we're putting out more research. I think we have something on the pain disc where you can actually see the heat change with the disc. What I thought was really interesting this week is that there was a publication that we did for the dark field blood test. And, you know, I'm not a scientist, right? But I enjoy watching things that I can't normally see. And what was done in the lab was taken a blood sample, a traditional just blood sample, put it underneath a microscope, and then they moved the smartphone. They took the first video was just by itself, and it was all separated. All the cells were nice and separated. And then they put the cell phone and they turned it on. And what was really interesting about that second video, because it was a series, I think it was 6 videos that were all put together. And it was really interesting is that I saw all the blood cells start to clump together. Like they were just magnetized, right? And they started clumping together. The red blood cells started clumping together. And I said, is that really what happens when we turn on the phone? And you had mentioned that, you know, when you were working with Nokia and Texas Instruments, and, you know, you turn on the phone, and it's really interesting when you turn on the phone and talk into it, the power amplifies when you talk into the phone versus just listening to the phone. And we put out something this week about finding the settings, the SAR settings, the warning, the RF warning that's actually on my phone. So I did it through my settings. I went to General. I went to my settings. I went to General, which I thought was pretty cool. I went to General. And then I did the About. And then from the About, I went all the way down to Legal, which I thought was pretty cool. I click on Legal. And then there's a button that says RF exposure. And I thought, well, this is like one of those warning labels that should be like on the back of something. And here it is. And it's talking about don't put the phone near your head. It's saying to reduce exposure, use a hands-free option, such as a built-in speakerphone, the supplied headphones, or similar accessories. Cases with metal parts may change the RF performance of the device, including compliance with RF exposure guidelines in a manner that has not been tested or certified. And then it gives us the SAR statement. And that is on my own phone. And I never knew it was there.
That's on your kids' phones. I care about your kids more than I care about you. You're a big guy, right? It's low density bones. It's low density muscle mass that we can really affect. Nobody can argue with me that microwave radiation doesn't affect biology. It affects it every day. Some people are immune. Some people in 40 generations from now, as the body evolves, 5G won't even matter because we're evolving based on these things happening and changing our DNA, and surviving DNA will make more immune 5G, 6G, 7G as we move forward, but we're obviously changing it faster than the body can change. I'm the same guy that didn't have a cell phone. Right? I'm the same guy that will have a 5G phone pretty quickly. So let me be clear. I have no issue with cell phones, in the use of cell phones. I love hearing someone's voice, hearing my son's voice, except when he tells me he's in a car accident, hearing my son's voice, doing business is important to me. I don't want to do away with this. I'm not here to tell people to throw away your cell phones. No. I'm here to either do two things: operate it outside their guidelines, meaning if they say 6 inches, hold it 12, okay? Use a wire, don't use Bluetooth. Or you can do things that's gonna help the body overcome the damages that's gonna happen. So when that blood was moved, that cell phone was moved there, and if it's just beaconing, just saying, I'm here, you're there, I'm here, you're there, it's called a beacon. As soon as the call comes through, both the antenna powers up and your phone powers up. So if you're standing next to a guy and he's on the phone, you're getting his energy is hitting you, okay? But when you go receive a call, you get another antenna shining at you, okay? And your phone ramps up significantly more power. What is the talk time on cell phones today? Maybe 16 hours, 20 hours of talk, but 200 hours of standby. So you're getting 10 times the dose because the battery lasts a 10 when you're on the phone. So you're getting significantly more dose of that energy. So what I want to do is stop the body from misbehaving, stop the body from clumping cells. How do you do that? The cells clump because we've now lowered the pH. Okay, what happens is those frequencies, as they hit the blood, lower the pH. What happens to iron when you put it in an acidic environment? It becomes really tacky, sticky, because it's starting to erode. Well, what happens to blood cells get stuck together? They like each other and they start attracting. Okay? So I used to have a red blood cell that had the ability to get oxygen on this side and this side, and oxygen on this side and this side. Right? That's 4 phases where I can get oxygen and carbon dioxide into the body. What happens when I do this? Those 4 become 2.
Right.
And if I take another one, 6 becomes 2. If I take another one, 8 potential sides of a red blood cell becomes only 2. So that's what's happening in the body as we get bombarded. So what do? We signal the body through this hologram technology. We signal to the body, relax, chill out. We're going to push the pH back to a 12 to 14 range. The blood cells swell. The white blood cells get active, looking for something to eat. They're eating all the bad stuff in our blood, and we get the body back to normal. If I could build you an aura display, I would see as I had 7 different auras sticking in the body. If I could look to see with and without the cell phone, they'd all be 7 to 11, which is a great range. Put the cell phone there, it's going to drop some. Turn it on and make a call, it's going to drop down to 3 or 4. You can see that in some of our videos where we use galvanic responses, where we're holding on to copper paddles to measure what's going on in the energy, the electricity flow in our body. So I think it's really important to understand I'm not against cell phones. I want people to have cell phones. I want people to enjoy their child's voice, right? I want dads to be able to say, I know exactly where my child is, right? Because of the GPS availability on them. I just want to make it such that we're not doing any short-term or long-term damage to the body. There are people smarter than me that have already petitioned their governments outside the United States to push the use of cell phones, push the use of Wi-Fi, these high-energy products, push them out of schools, okay? Because they know they've been linked to disruption, they've been linked to attendance, they've been linked to a lot of wellness issues that they want to just wipe out. So what they did is they said, hey, we don't want them anyways. Let's go back to the old ways of doing things. So they can still use computers. They just have to be hardwired in and no wireless. Cell phones are left at the door so that they can't get in because they don't want them. Our cell towers have to be aimed away. So you'll go, there's a military base here in Virginia Beach and you drive by it, your cell phone cuts out every time because the cell towers have to be faced away. And they are very directional. Cell towers can be very directional. They're faced away. They don't want any cell disruption, any energies over their airfield where they're landing F-18s, practicing touch and goes here in the area. So that's right. We know how to manage a lot of this. We can do that. We can actually go and program antennas such that they never go behind 180 degrees. And when you're walking down the street and you have a cell antenna, that antenna locks on you. And through solid state technology, it can follow you down the street or in your car going 60 miles an hour.
That's the GPS system. I mean, it's following you,
that's
right?
just simply a cell tower talking to your phone. As a signal drops, it goes, I'm going to shift where I think he is by 1 degree. Oh, it's stronger. I'm going to shift it by another degree. It's stronger. I'm okay here. Shift it by another degree. It's weakening, going back the other way, and it's going to follow you down the road. That cell tower uses a technology called solid state phased array. Big words, but it simply says is I know where you are and I'm going to lock on you. It's what our military uses to lock on missiles. Okay. Wow. And radars that go out and say, I know where you are. Well, it's able to do that to give you a better signal. So I can drive the energy even higher. So walk a half a mile, that antenna is still beating on you with that energy the entire time. That's amazing. I don't want to stop that. I recognize that energy is necessary. If anybody claims that they stop microwaves from hitting your body, they stop cell phone broadcast and eliminate the ability of the phone to do damage, they're lying to you. Because if that happened, the phone wouldn't work. It's got to have broadcast. So the only thing we can do is help the body. And you said, Steve, what if I was on the phone for maybe an hour a day at the most? And I said, but I don't want to invest in a product like yours. What should I do? Rob, I think you and I had this conversation a long time ago.
Sure.
I did. Do 2 things. Get a salt lamp. It's a one-time purchase, 16 to 25 bucks. Give the ions a free and go walk on the beach. Go walk on concrete and barefoot and push all that energy back to God. Push it all down and out of the body. Not realistic for most of it. Don't walk in the grass because it's usually filled with pesticides. But just go ahead and walk on the concrete. It's pretty clean most of the time. Walk on that and you'll neutralize the body. In fact, if you did it every phone call, you would never need a product like this. I just do the same thing by getting the body to ground it, to take these free energies, put them down where they belong, or put them out of your body where they don't belong, and allow the body to get back to some level of normalcy.
Well, it's really interesting. Where you're talking about pinging the tower and it's tracking me, and then how the disc works, because we saw in that video when we put one disc there, we saw the cells starting to reform and separate, and then they put 2 discs in it, and we saw a lot of more movement and a lot of different separation, which I thought was really intense. we had a question, and the question was, RF is non-ionizing. Now, I don't know what ionizing and non-ionizing is, and what's the difference between a non-ionizing radiation versus ionized radiation? I don't know. The word radiation is the same for me in both scenarios. So I don't know what ionizing is and non-ionizing, and why some people are saying the 5G is a non-ionizing frequency. What does that mean to you?
Well, ions are good for the body, good for our world, okay? So there are good ions and bad ions. So we got to recognize, number one, it's simply what electrical energy does to a molecule or an atom, okay? If we strip off an electron, that becomes an ion. It wants a home. It wants to get back to neutral. It is now slightly positive charge, and it wants to get back, okay? So it's going to search for something to get back on it. I don't care about the argument of ion versus non-ion because the body doesn't care. Either way, that energy is screwing up our bloodstream because we have molecules rich in iron in our blood. We have every part of our body is rich in calcium and magnesium and iron and all the minerals that God has that are all sensitive, all ability to absorb energy, RF energy, radio frequency energy. So the ionic discussion doesn't mean it's good or bad. It's just a way of saying this one might be worse because it's ionizing. It creates these ions. And that just simply means that the molecule is more rambunctious. It's going to do work harder to get itself realigned, get itself back to neutral. So when you smell that ozone in the air, with a lightning bolt, okay, we're getting ready. That's ions that are released by millions of volts of energy, electricity is created when a lightning bolt hit, and that's ionizing the air. It's taking oxygen and making, instead of O2, it's making O and O. And what do they want to do? Get back together, okay? When it gets into your body, a lot of times we smell ion as good, right? It feels really good. So there are ions that are incredible. We don't need to ionize something to make it good or bad for us. Bad ions are bad, good ions are good.
Amazing. All right. Well, thank you for answering that question. I'm going to throw it up. We're at the 30-minute mark here, and I want to throw it up to any questions that anyone else has that's watching us this evening. I know that we invited a number of our affiliates and also some of our influencers out there to join us this evening. But if anyone out there has any questions for Steve, this is Ask Steve, and I've asked a bunch of questions that were coming throughout the week. But does anyone have any questions out there that you would like to get answered by Steve today? And you just go ahead and in the chat, go ahead and place your question, and then I'll read it and hand it over.
Rob, let me take a moment and
while we're waiting.
Yeah. I wanted to just kind of introduce the company at a full service level. We've talked a lot about 5G. You can see my golden, it's actually yellow, but we call it the golden band. You can't buy these, you can only get them awarded. Okay. Here's one of the products that we've taken to market a few years now. It's called the mass disc. This disc goes on the body, and it's simply designed to push your body to drive the precursors to testosterone to ramp them up. So I think you can see that okay. But what I give you is where to put them on the body. It's really key. We've studied the meridians of the body. We know these are sensitive to the types of botanicals and energies that we want to push into the body. So for a sleep disc, we know that gallbladder 12 is a good spot. What is it susceptible if you were an acupuncturist or a shaman or somebody that uses energy to make an impact in biology? This is a spot where they would drain energy. Okay, and they would signal in the frequencies of natural things around them to drain it, lower the body. In this case here, we're trying to ramp the body up. So we're going to signal energy in to the body through those same different meridians, because they're different meridians are going to behave differently. We're going to signal these into the body. So with Body Align, I give you where to map them on your body. So if you're trying to get through a day and you've got too much stress, we'll show you exactly where to put it. We can take energy out of the bottom. Or if you're not feeling right, you feel kind of maybe ozony, where your brain is just kind of bouncing around a little bit, we can show you to put on one of the energy balance bands, and it's going to take you and kind of get your body renormalized, so you're going to have a much more effective day. If you find yourself at the vending machine at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, guess what? Wear one of these and it'll be 5 o'clock and you'll be like, what? It's time to go? Because you're not going to get that late afternoon drowsy.
I definitely can attest to that. One of the things that we had one of our influencers out there, and she was talking about, we sent her some sleep discs along. She was our top affiliate, and we sent her out some sleep discs. She said that it was the first time that she slept till 11 a.m. And I know for a fact that she has family and children and so on and so forth. So thank her husband, who must have been the rock star that day. But she put
she's a mother of 5, so
right.
Is a long time.
That she slept to 11 is a miracle in itself. That with five kids in the home. But what goes into a sleep disc, right? What are you putting into the frequencies that you're putting into a sleep disc that makes it work? Why is it better that I take a melatonin and chamomile tea and try and go to sleep, or is it?
Let's talk about
benefit.
Right. Let's talk about inside out and outside in. Okay. Yes, your body might chemically need melatonin. You shouldn't, but you might need it. Okay. Right. You might need magnesium for vitamin absorption. You might need gallium and selenium and all the minerals that we can get in a 1 a day. Your body may need that. I'm not saying that you would not use good products inside your body to adjust at the chemical plane. What I'm telling you is that the energetic, you can have all you want electrically, but you're probably not getting it energetically. Okay. We need outside stimulation. And I always tell people 13,000 years, the Chinese did it. You didn't go to your medicine cabinet, your vitamin cabinet to get anything. You went to your acupuncturist or your shaman or your energy healer, and they looked at your body and they managed it for you. Today, we look for a pill. We look for something to go do that. I just simply said, I'm going to take everything that my acupuncturists know, and I probably got 25 books on acupuncture to study why they would pick a meridian, what's going through their mind, and what are the signals that they would use. And then I got with doctors and studied the biology and says, why is your red yeast rice good for anti-inflammation, right? Or turmeric or magnesium. We use magnesium a lot because there's a huge deficiency in adults in the United States. So I started looking, Warren and myself started looking at what does the biology need? So many times our body's lacking at the energetic level and at the chemical level. So if you have pain, you can take lots of pain relief stuff and it's probably going to work because you're overpowering your body. Or you can see if acupuncture, these energy that we use, is going to do the same thing because your body's got enough endorphins and serotonins, but it may not have enough energetic solutions, so it's going to struggle and just physically demand you to give them something more. So I like to treat the body outside in and inside out. And I tell people, you have a great attitude, you have a better relationship. Okay? You have a bad attitude, you have a bad relationship. Doesn't mean you're chemically imbalanced. It just means that part of your life is out of balance. Okay? And it's going to disturb your biology. Okay? Over time, you're going to sleep less. Over time, you're going to eat less or more, depending where you're going. We're going to impact the biology. I want to make a clean view of the world. I'm going to call it my bootstrap, right? I'm going to get the energetic viruses out of the body and reconnect everything so we're all working together. So that sleep disc worked wonderfully because she had a significant gap in energetic needs for the kind of products that we signal to her, okay? Melatonin, we all know I can go buy melatonin. But when I give her 150 to 200 different frequencies, whatever the body needs, it's going to glob onto it and says, okay, I got it now. I can biologically respond. If I don't need it, I'm just going to ignore it. In the case of pills, your body sees it as toxin. You're going to pass it into your urine. It comes out of your body. Energetically, it says, I don't care. I don't need it. I don't care. Okay, we're talking about the energy plane. That's an affirmation. Let's say it's an affirmation. I'm feeling bad. Oh, but Steve, you're very handsome. Steve, but I'm feeling much better. What can we do with this? Is not a chemical connection. This is absolutely an energetic connection. Just because it's sound waves doesn't mean that it isn't effective, right? Or isn't energetic. It's going to bounce in. I'm going to hear it. My brain's going to process it. And suddenly I'm feeling a little bit better. So Lair got exactly that feeling. Is her body says, I need it. And I put her in a deeper sleep than she's ever. That's why she slept so long, because she went deeper than she imagined. Her body says, I need this bad. Her deep into her brain, if she was wearing her Fitbit, this is the cool part. With my sleep disc, you put on your Fitbit, do it for a week without my product, get a good measurement of your sleep and quality of sleep.
Right.
Put on my product for a week, and then compare notes, and you'll be like, I got 50 to 60% more REM sleep, good quality REM sleep. My sleep was deeper than I've ever imagined it, because I'm clearing the body, giving it what it needs to say, everything calm down. Our body communicates to each organ through the chemical plane.
Sure.
And through the energetic plane. That's why we have meridians. That's why the Chinese studied it. They said it's not just chemical. We got to address it energetically. So what do we do for our friend here that used the sleep disc? We just gave her all the energy spark that she needed, and her body did the rest. I didn't do anything to her that her body didn't need or want. I just gave them the energetic signals for that. Gave her those affirmations that her brain could process. And I promise you this, the sleep she has expanded into her brain, a kind of sleep that you get when it's the best you've ever had. Okay, I promise you, when she wakes up, anybody wakes up in my product, they wake up, they're going, I don't know what just happened to me, but I feel like I'm in sleep for 10 minutes, but it's been 5 hours or 6 hours or 8 hours, because I'm giving them that deep of a sleep. Like when the doctor gives you for the Nokia to operate on you, you wake up, you can't even tell how much time went by, and that's what I do for them. Her body didn't even know that many hours ticked away. Her mind was so deep into her sub thoughts and into her sub brain. Dreams are vivid. The whole concept of sleep gets amplified and better for you when you're on our sleep product.
Amazing. It was great testimonial from her. She also gave a great testimonial on the pain. She had some personal afflictions and stuff like that, and her husband too, and talked about the benefits of Body Align, pain disc, the sleep disc, the energy band. We're getting tons of reviews from that, and obviously the EMF and what we're talking about with 5G. And thank you for your experience with as much experience as you have with starting out with 1G and at Nokia and coming through. And I know that you're still involved in telecom today. So it's really interesting that you're involved in telecom, right? But so you're definitely a proponent for cellular services and all the devices and Wi-Fi and everything else, but just basically being safer, more protective of ourselves or of our children or our family, and putting out a quality product like this. It is, we've seen just an influx. I think it's because there's an influx of more 5G discussions. We're seeing such an influx of sales that are happening through bodyalign.com for the EMF discs, and it's going gangbusters there. So we're very pleased that people are taking concern about that. I want to say that we are pretty much out of time today. I want to any closing statements that you like to give, and I want to make.
For the record, we're a 10-year-old plus company. I just placed an order for some more holograms, and when I flush my inventory plus that new order, we'll have shipped our 2 millionth hologram. This isn't young. It might be revolutionary because people are hearing about it. The new people are hearing about it, but people like Julie have been around a long time and know what this product can do. I shipped the first ones. The testimonies were fantastic, and every 6 months or so, we are driving the capability of what we do higher and higher. That's what Warren does in the lab every day. The biology folks that understand biology give us more and more products that we can use to elevate it. But we're not a young company. We're a very sophisticated company that's been around a long time. Understand our customers, understand our products, and we're just rolling it out to the people that are looking for an alternative. I'm not going to go fight with Johnson & Johnson, and they just lost $200 million in a lawsuit in Oklahoma because they put everybody on addictive OxyContin. Okay? They just lost 200. That's the first state that made Johnson & Johnson responsible for the addiction problems in that state. Can you imagine times 50? Okay? If it's based on the number of people, Oklahoma has nobody. So when they get to New York and California, we're talking trillions of dollars of responsibility that they have because people picked the pill and didn't look for alternatives. I want my tombstone to say this is the alternative, right? Body Align was the alternative. I want to elevate your wellness. I want to reduce your pain. I want to take your lifestyle to the next highest level without putting a chemical in your body. With that, Rob, Thank you for hosting me tonight.
Yeah,
I look forward to doing this again.
Thank you. You know, it's always enlightening every time we have these discussions, and I want to thank a special thanks to Brad, to Hagen, to Jim, to Julia, to Kimberly, Ricky, and Vicky, and all those that are watching us this evening. Thank you so very much for participating in Body Align. Thank you for investigating your own health and the energy wellness opportunities that we have here at Body Align. Please follow us on social media. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. There's a lot of information. Go to bodyalign.com. Take a look at some of the information and research that's available to you freely, and make an educated decision what's best for you, what is good for your life. And we hope that you invest in Body Align and align your body. So, Steve, thank you so very much.
Good night, Rob.
Good night, sir.